Sure, like, when that position goes away,
Mhm.
that opportunity to make sure that the homeless, because the community liaison position was vacant, right?
There is a vacant community liaison
So
position.
is this position
currently.
taking the place of the vacant?
So that would, internally, we'd deal with that, so essentially we'd probably close that position, right? And then open up this one.
Because this one has to go through the whole process as a brand new
Correct.
position, get authorized, blah, 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 through
It's
the
a-
union,
Correct.
and then you guys would decide if that other position goes away. Because
Yeah.
we can't add headcount
Right, exactly.
and add a position if we're laying off people.
Exactly.
So that's what I needed clarity.
Exactly.
Okay.
That would be the plan, Martha, if all goes according to plan, which I think it would.
Okay.
Okay. So if there's no other
Rick, did
questions
you have
on
questions?
that, we
Yeah,
go
just
to the
one
next
that
one.
one, and then two quick ones on two more, and that's it.
Sure. Okay. So with the special program coordinator, so that person is over. So before migrant education went over to the County Office of Education, that person oversaw migrant education and adult education. The county office now takes care of migrant education for us, so it's just adult education. So essentially what we have currently is we have a director, a coordinator, and another coordinator who oversee three different things. They oversee
Independent study.
independent
Yeah.
study, Central Bay,
Continuation,
and adult ed.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
essentially going from 3 administrators who will deal with those 3 things, going down to 2. So it would be a principal and a vice principal of educational options, which would oversee those 3, rather than having 3 administrators with 1 each.
And adult education, even though they might be migrant or Spanish speaking, that has nothing to do with it. Okay. And then if this is on here as far as director of transportation,
Yeah.
why? What's going to happen with the director of
That's a
transportation?
great, thank you for that question, Rick. So, currently we've got a director of transportation, and if you see over the page, you have a director of facilities, maintenance, and operations. Okay? Now, in other districts similar size to us, they don't have 2 different directors over those 2 things.
Just I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Is director the highest, or is there is something else like?
After director, we go up to assistant soup.
No, as far as transportation, say, okay, well, say, how about the director of facilities? Is that the highest of
In
facilities?
facilities.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, it's the
Okay.
highest. So
Go
we
ahead.
currently have got 2 directors there. In other districts our size and sometimes bigger, they don't. They only have 1 director, and it's a director of facilities, maintenance, operations, and transportation. And actually, we used to have the same thing here.
Yeah.
Interestingly,
Yeah.
right? But then what happened is we promoted and then went, we're going to have 2 directors over this rather than 1, right? We actually think that that's not necessary. Instead, we could have 1 director over both programs.
Yeah.
They're in the exact same place,
Yeah.
right?
Same assistant.
It was done before.
Same
right, with
system.
Ricky?
No, I mean same assistant that
Yeah.
helps out both of the directors.
You're
Same
in sync.
assistant.
Yeah, I know.
And we would then develop a another position. So the person who's currently in the director position of transportation would become like a lead, okay? And that lead would still be there for the day-to-day operations of transportation. So for example, routes, making sure that there's coverage, being a trainer, because you do need a trainer, and being an extra driver, right? But that person would not be responsible for the management of the entire operation. So, things like
Evaluations.
evaluations,
Discipline.
Budget.
budget, all of those things, that person would not do that. They would not be responsible for it. That would be the director of facilities, maintenance, operations, and transportation, which is a different position from the facilities, maintenance, and operations right now, and hence we would lay off both positions and then hire 1 director instead.
Oh, cool. Thank you for that. And then I forgot if we talked about, maybe you could refresh, just as far as the community schools, and we started with 4, now we have 2, and now, how's that gonna work out with with the students being served without two community schools coordinators.
Sure. Antonio, would you mind speaking to that? Or would you like me to speak to it?
I mean, I can start, and you can,
Are you gonna provide that list, or,
It's
oh,
on the-
never mind, it's there, never mind, my bad.
So, I mean, I think a lot of the work, Rick, will be picked up also with the work of the faces and the community liaisons that we have, and also with, the coordinator of community and family engagement. They will be the ones that will have to pick up the pieces there to still provide some of the programming, some of the interaction, some of the needs assessment. So I would start off with that. But that would be the base of the people that would lead some of that work.
And what I'd add on to that is the management positions there, we don't feel that we need them to be in management positions, right? The positions which we need are the things which are direct services to students and families, and those aren't management positions.
And the liaisons, I'm not, I kinda get input from schools, and like, some say they're supposed to be there, and a lot of people say
It's
that
okay,
they're,
do you need it?
when they are there, they say that, oh, that's not my job, or, so how is that gonna work out with, are they supposed to be in schools, or are they supposed to be at the FRC?
It's a bit of both, Rick. Now,
Okay.
what we acknowledge, right, is that we think that there needs to be a few changes
Yeah.
around how that's run. It doesn't come into the actual layoffs. I've heard similar things to yourselves, right? And does there need to be a kind of like a rearrangement? I think there does. We're currently getting input from principals, okay, to be like, how should we organize this so it runs better? I don't have an answer for you yet, because it's something which we're still working
Yeah,
on.
for sure.
But we acknowledge that it could be smoother.
And did you guys find out from other districts that where they had no community schools coordinators?
But they didn't have any?
Yeah.
Is there schools that don't, that are in the community school program that don't have any coordinators? What would their structure be like? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I am uncertain.
We do have to
Antonio,
look
do you
it up
know?
and get back to you. It's very different across the state. Not every
Okay.
I mean, I know that's the way it was sold to us, if you will, when they were presenting, right, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But if the school districts are different sizes, and to Matt's point, you're not always gonna need a person in the supervisor position to do some of that work. But we can look into it and get back to you guys with actual facts.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I think you're right. When this got first launched in Monterey County, this is what everybody did.
This is what they were
Beyond Monterey
encouraging.
County, I don't think it's necessarily the case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just add that I think that staff needs clarity, right? It's kind of hard
Yeah.
to do your job when you don't know are you at a site, are you not at a site, how many days, and then the site principals too. I mean, I think that's what we're hearing. I think that's why you see
Yeah.
these concerns.
Yeah.
And staff needs clarity to be able to understand what their roles are, whether they're performing successfully or not. And there has been a lot of
Yes.
instability in the rollout, and so I would like for us to, help staff to be successful by
Yeah.
them knowing what they want. I think that's
And I think that's also-
unconcern that I'm hearing.
I
Or
agree,
concern,
and
not
I think that goes into the actual community school coordinator position itself. I think there has been disclarity around what is it exactly that those folks should be doing and how they should be doing it and how they should actually measure it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'd
think the
agree.
measuring's important.
Can I say something?
Of course you can.
Okay, so, he's saying no.
I just can't help myself when you say that.
So, we just went, I just went last week on Monday, and I've been to several community school workshops, right? That's where you learn. That's where you learn about the framework. That's where you learn how it's a transformation model. That's where you learn how other schools, and this one that I went to at the Monterey County Office of Education, Santa Barbara was there. It was all through the state. We had a good turnout. I was there
Nice.
because Gabe also sponsored it. And I learned a lot again, and I learned how other districts are thriving. LSL is getting like kudos left and right for their community schools model. And you guys have heard how LSL has been getting kudos for a lot of things, because they're getting it they're getting it done right. I'm just letting you guys know that we've been poking our nose in this, and they've been shifting it back and forth, because last year we were doing this again. We were saying,
Yeah.
well, they don't need 4 community coordinators, they just need 2. And then now we're coming back saying, go away. And how are they supposed to even get this program off the ground when we keep going in there telling them,
agree. That's a
we're
good
not the
point.
experts, we're telling them, you don't need this, you don't need that. But statistics are showing, you know, I mean, I went into 2 of the workshops, and the guy that they hired Monterey County wide to do, actually California wide, I'm sorry. California wide, is going to, like, every week, traveling and working with school districts to get them even more, solid, right? So there's support out there if you guys feel like it's not aligned right, you know? And I know that, the transformation model of our LCAP goal of getting communities involved in school
Yes.
districts, that's,
Yes.
why do you think this is funded by the state? They're giving billions of dollars because they believe in this framework, in this model.
Yeah.
And it saddens me that we keep on just dismantling it. And how are we ever supposed to measure to see if it's working, because it keeps getting dismantled? Like, last year, the community liaisons were on site, and they said that wasn't working, they're gonna go to, you know, to the FRC, right?
Yeah.
So how are we supposed to know what's working and what's not? I mean, that's like, again, we say we don't wanna get in the weeds, that's operational, that's, give them the opportunity to get it off the ground, you know, and then give them the tools and the resources and the support to get it off the ground. I thought we heard from some of the site leaders on how well they're doing. We heard from the middle school, we heard from the Castroville school, but, I mean, I get it, you guys. And then the other sad thing is this is funded under a grant.
Yeah.
This is funded under a grant, it shouldn't even affect our budget. But you guys are shifting that, cause we saw that there was a question, and I appreciate you sending the email and letting us know, you know, that question of what positions are under the grant, and you're moving some of the faces over there now,
Correct.
you know?
And I think it comes down to that whole direct services piece, right? And your point around it being a transformational model, that's right, okay? What's interesting is the three out of the 4 pillars we have going on already, what community schools brings, right, is, you know, how do we get that two-way communication between ourselves and the community, right? And we really see the community liaisons and the faces as helping us to do that.
Yeah, I see
Right.
that happening too.
If I can also add, I think part of the unfortunate thing about the grant is that it's not like a never-ending grant, and the
Mhm.
grant's gonna end next year. And part of the and even next year for 26, 27, if say we were keeping the positions or if they stay, they have to start like having a more of a
Funding source,
percentage of the
right.
general fund or LCFF fund or other monies to pay for that. Because the idea is like launch it, right? Create whatever vision you're gonna have, but then you have to figure out in your budget how you're gonna sustain those positions
I
moving
agree,
forward. And
agree.
right now, as we're again having this conversation, this is part of the equation for why we also landed for these positions, because we didn't see a way where we would be able to prioritize using LCFF funds or general funds to continue. So that's just part of the equation. So it's not like the money just would keep on remaining there.
Mhm.
And so that's wanted to add that important part.
And that's
Good
true,
answer.
Yeah.
that's true.
Thank you.
You have to sustain it, and that's where
So if we
I'm
were to
hoping
do
we
it,
can
we
get
would
the
have to
model right,
sustain
that's
those
all
two
I'm saying.
positions with other district funds to make it, to
Yeah.
have it continue going.
I get that, but I'm just saying, let's get that model going, you know?
Yeah.
Agreed.
I just wanna be able to
been-
give them
it's
the
been a
support and
struggle,
the
man,
tools
but
to do
you-
that, you
Yeah.
know, instead of
Where
us
we at again?
saying, we don't want this and we don't want that.
What position was that about?
Oh, you take another one.
Women's school coordinator.
Coordinator, okay. I got thrown off by,
So are there any more questions about the list?
So the director of transportation was new for me, is this new?
Yes.
Was it on there? It wasn't on there last time, huh?
No.
And
Nor
so,
was
again, this
the-
is the first I'm seeing that, so thank you for asking that question, cause I didn't know, and the director of facilities and maintenance operations, the first time I'm seeing that too.
Yes.
can I add something, not add something, but
No.
thank you. You guys finally got me back.
No,
We had a 2-year position. It was a coordinator of behavioral and intervention. It's not been filled for 2 years. How does that affect our budget since it's not been filled? And how would that affect our budget if we put it on the list or not?
So if it is a vacant position, it gets released. So we do budget for it because we never know if somebody's gonna apply, of course, and then if they do apply, we need to have the budget available in order to pay whoever we hire. But if we do not end up hiring, let's say it's vacant the entire year, then that money goes back into our general fund. The amounts that we have budgeted for the position. What was the second part of your question? I'm sorry?
What's the rationale of keeping it?
I can actually answer that one. So, because it has not been filled, we've had to be contracting out for services on that position.
That's right.
Because in order to get the services, direct services for students from, basically that is a BCBA, so board certified behavior analyst. And so, our special services had to be getting contracts outside to get those services handled for students that need those consultations.
And this is just for me to understand. You said BCBA. I'm just going back to in the
Correct.
classroom. I had a BCBA show up to my classroom. Somebody who had a
You had a BT,
Or-
probably,
okay.
yeah, behavior tech. That works under a BCBA, so we have to
Gotcha.
have a BCBA to be coordinating and supervising those BTs that are out there.
and who when we say contracting services, what does that mean?
So it means that we
And
go out to an outside agency when we can't fill these positions and contract with a third party to come in and provide those direct services to students.
So what that means in terms of the budget is we release the money that was spent for the position and we apply it towards the contract.
And have-
Subcontracted in.
Yeah, but I just want to know who the company was. And I guess my next question is, did we spend less than, equal to, or greater than
Usually
the
it's
position?
It's greater than usually because not only you're paying the company to send somebody who
And
they
the
are
overhead.
paying the amount that we're actually paying them. They're making money, so it's supposed to do it.
We approved it at the last board.
Right,
know,
so
but
the
I
last
still want
board
more.
meeting,
Yeah, I know,
we
but
brought
just-
that position back, changed it, added some more things for
Oh, yeah.
billing, and raised it to try and encourage, and people across the area are having the same issues and filling those positions. It's a tough job.
Back to my director of transportation, and did you say we had two directors of transportation?
No, we have a director of transportation, one, and we have a director of facilities and maintenance, operations and safety, two, and that would be put into one director position.
Okay, that's what I need clarity. So they're gonna be combined, and that's what you were
Correct.
saying, that's what we
Yeah.
had before. Director of transportation and facilities. That was
Yes.
what it is. Okay, got it.
That'll go onto the next non-management list.
Oh,
Management, thank you.
Yeah, this is just a management
I
list,
got confused.
and then
Yeah.
whenever you're ready, we can go into the non-management
Yeah.
list.
Are we handling it one at a time?
I mean, I have them
Right, we've been
one at a
jumping around.
time, but it's
Yeah.
up to the board.
Yeah, is there,
I like the idea of doing management so I can.
yeah, let's just
Okay.
take it one at a time. Let's do this piecemeal so we can at least address whatever questions, concerns we have. Are there any further questions on this agenda topic?
on the management positions.
Management piece right now, that's all
Management
we're
positions
covering.
only.
What, the
No.
resolution 2025-2026 classified management.
Nope.
That's what's before us. Okay, I'm gonna invite a motion to either amend or approve as is. So I'm inviting a motion.
I'll motion.
Okay, I'm inviting a second, and your motion is to approve the list as is. As submitted. Is that your motion?
Slow motion.
Okay, it's a slow motion,
It
but
is
I'm gonna,
slow
I'm gonna
motion,
get a,
yes.
I'm gonna ask one more thing. Something that
Okay.
you did not clarify. If these positions go away, the majority of these people, some of them have opportunities to go into other roles.
Correct.
Some, yes.
Some of
Because
them.
It's management.
it's management, and so it works to where they can move to other roles in the,
No.
because of their
Potentially.
tenure, or how does that work?
So
Goodness.
there's two ways here. Most of these are classified positions. However, there is a board policy, I wish I had it memorized right now. There's a board policy that states that the board adopted years ago that basically values the positions that the people have held previously, and they would have bumping rights into positions that they are qualified for.
Potentially.
As long
Okay,
as
so
those
you guys
positions
call them
exist
bumping
somewhere.
rights?
It's bumping rights. So, yeah, and that's, some of this is all about timelines. We can talk about the timelines later on, but bumping rights is one of those things where one of the reasons for the timeline of these resolutions getting passed is for the HR team to then go into bumping rights and start notifying anybody affected by bumping rights so that we can look at the domino effect of people moving into positions. So yes, many of the people in these positions would have rights back to positions.
Okay,
So, I invite a motion. What is your motion?
yeah, It's a motion.
To approve as is?
Mhm.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, great, we're gonna do roll call. We're gonna start with you. Are you in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Rick?
No.
Okay. Angelo?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye, so motion passes 3-1. Okay, let's move on to our next agenda item, which is a resolution covering 2025-2026, covering certificated employment, correct? Since I don't have it in front of
That
me
is
now.
correct.
Spitball.
So these are the,
Certificated?
these
Yes,
are,
it's coming right now.
they're classified,
No, this is
this is the
Oh, it's
classified,
classified, I'm sorry.
non-management positions.
Okay, classified non-management, thank you, I'm sorry. This
No,
is why
that's
I
okay.
need this.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so, this list is similar, but not the exact same.
So you changed this one too?
This one has been changed also, and we will go through some of the reasons for those changes, but I want to highlight what those changes are, first of all. So, on the original list, it had, I believe, 2 dispatcher secretaries. This one also has 2 dispatcher secretaries, one of which is vacant. It has 2 MTSS assistants, both of which are vacant. That was the same as the last time as well. It has a data IT specialist too, which is also vacant. That was on the old list as well, so no changes there. The change here is that there's a vehicle maintenance technician on the list. Previously, that position was a journeyman mechanic. Okay, so there's a switch there, and I'm going to ask Brenda to go through that switch. But first, I'm just going to go through all of the positions here. The other one, administrative assistant 1 at the high school, which is again a vacant position. That was on the last one.
Oh, that's one of my questions. Oh, perfect.
Okay, the school office clerk, elementary 4, part-time positions, that was also on the last resolution as well. The car driver, that was on the last one. School bus driver, which is again vacant, that was on the last one, and library tech 1 was on the last one. So the change here is the journeyman mechanic to the vehicle maintenance technician. And Brenda, I'm going to ask you to go through that, please. We do have a handout here to go through it.
Give you a minute.
Can you describe the handout? Is it just the budget considerations? Thank you. Oh, okay, the staffing justification. Okay, thank you. Is it, okay, perfect. Good, I'm glad.
Okay, I'll go ahead
Audience
and.
members can see it.
Sorry. We'll go ahead and go through the handout. So I'll first do the mechanic staffing changes. I went through to, go through to ensure that I was projecting out what the routes were gonna be for the next fiscal year. And right now, we're projected to have about 22 active routes for transportation with a 10 to 15% spare, meaning additional work. That'd be about 24 to 25 vehicles. And currently, we have essentially three mechanics. The industry standard, based on the school bus fleet maintenance survey, which is our benchmark, is actually 1 mechanic for every 20 to 25 buses. Now, that ranges from school district to school district. Sometimes it's actually more, meaning it could be up to 30 vehicles, and sometimes, of course, it's less, depending on the school district. So if we have 22 to 25 vehicles, we also have 8 spare buses, which we rotate depending on what happens. Now, we do service those spare vehicles every 45 to 3,000 miles, so 45 days to 3,000 miles. And we have some district fleet as well. Now, when I just go through and I utilize the transportation research calculator, that is approximately 2 FTE in terms of the labor that it would take to provide maintenance and support for all of those vehicles. So in terms of the proposed structure is to keep 2 FTE because the calculation would support 2 FTE. And that would mean eliminating the vehicle maintenance mechanic. The reason for the vehicle maintenance mechanic versus the journeyman is when I look at the 3, so we have vehicle maintenance, journey mechanic, and lead. The journeyman and the lead can do all of the same duties. The vehicle maintenance is the one that has less responsibility, so we need somebody that can do, we could need at least 2 people that can do all of the different maintenance and changes to support the buses.
Which was actually, just by the way, pointed out by board members, I
Yes.
believe, at the last meeting.
And so this,
Yeah.
of course, aligns with the benchmark, and then we would still have sufficient support to continue all the maintenance and repairs.
Let's stop
Questions?
there for, see if there's any questions on the
Yes.
mechanics piece.
I mean, Brenda, did you check in with the director, the
I
current
did.
director of transportation about the recommendation?
I did.
Okay.
I checked in very early regarding this, and very early we had discussed that we can remove one mechanic and still ensure that we're providing maintenance.
Okay.
Can I ask for clarification, because mechanic's kind of a broad term? There's vehicle
Yes.
maintenance guy,
Yes,
and then there's a journey mechanic.
yes.
Those are not the same job duties.
That is correct.
So, 'cause I
And
think
then-
there's a confusion, because when we throw the word mechanic, like all 3 of them can grab wrenches and break down a diesel engine. In reality,
Correct.
only 2 of them can, the other
Correct.
cannot.
And the vehicle maintenance mechanic, which is the one that we
Oh, this
are
is the vehicle
suggesting to
maintenance
remove,
technician.
that's the one that has the least amount of skills and abilities.
And certifications, right?
Yes, which is why we're leaving the journeyman and the lead.
So if the vehicle maintenance position goes away, they were doing the minor maintenance, is that what I'm hearing, like minor stuff? So that means the journey and the lead have to pick that up.
But
They
they
can do-
can. Do you mind answering this? We learned it on the transportation thing that we went to. They have their certifications to do everything. The maintenance guy does not have the cert, so if he does something, he can't sign it off. And he's not in qualifications for that. So they can still do all the work. But let's say we got rid of the journey tech, and that other journey mechanic just, I don't know, got in a car accident, I'm just using that. Our vehicle maintenance guy cannot service our vehicles and sign it off. We'd have to go outside district.
And so what happens if you only have 2 and one calls out sick? Then what happens? Do you guys have subs for maintenance people, or?
In theory.
We currently do not, but in theory, yes, a sub. So basically subs in general across the district in certain classifications, when we find the needs for them, we will open up pools for substitutes. And just recently we needed subs for IT. We opened up a sub IT pool, got people in there who were qualified, some were past employees, and we hired them. Same with custodial staffing. So if there became a need to find maintenance mechanic technicians or maintenance technicians sub, we could do that and pull people in for extra help.
So possibly this person could be a sub.
So if you were to pass this, the job of maintenance technician would no longer exist. It would be laid off. And that specific person, unless he had the certifications to come in and be a journeyman mechanic, could not sub into the journeyman mechanics, because the only 2 positions we would have available in transportation would be
They'd
a
have to have the
journeyman
same
or
qualifications to come in as a sub.
Correct. To be actually a true sub, to do the work of the person who is out, they have to be qualified individual to do that work.
I just don't want us to cut ourselves short, right? You know, I mean, you guys, we had 3 for how long?
Long term.
A long time.
A
Now,
long-
I will say we have been shortening our routes every year. Even from this past year, we're going down,
Oh, we also got the electric buses too.
and that means less work as well.
That means less
Well,
work.
I'm gonna interject on that one. Going there, they told us the electric buses are not that reliable. So,
But they're under warranty,
Not yet.
right? They're not doing the work, are they?
well, no, because you have to have the certifications, but
Yeah.
to put this is where I'm really proud of our journey techs. The brand new buses off the lot got red tagged by CHP. Our 20-year fleet is passing CHP. So that shows a testament of how we're doing business. They're getting the old vehicles passing, and CHP's not easy with their inspection teams. And a brand new state-of-the-art thing, fresh from the factory, got a no from CHP.
I mean, I'm not doubting their work, their quality of work is probably awesome. I'm just looking at the support, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at,
Hence why it was
we have always had 3, we get rid of 1, that means we'd have to get a sub, a qualified sub, because What happens if
So-
somebody's always calling out and then you only have one?
I think it depends, right? So we don't staff on the assumption that somebody's not going to be there.
True.
Because if we do, we would have 1.5 times the amount of staff.
No,
that
I'm
we
looking
do.
at it like teachers, you guys have to have a subpool because
That's
they call
true.
out. I look at
That's
any
true.
position, you gotta have a subpool. We don't have one for this. We would have to create one.
Right.
That's all I'm hearing.
Okay.
That's it.
I
But
will
to-
just point out
Yeah.
that in terms of mechanics, some of the vehicle maintenance related things, so smog checks, oil change, we can also contract out,
Mm.
which we have also been doing for some of our district fleet. So that isn't something that's strange
True.
to our district.
That's true.
But to clarify, your position is that 2 mechanics is sufficient to support the current workload. That's why you're recommending we eliminate 1 position.
Correct, and as I noted on the sheet, it's based on the benchmark, right, that it's
Uh-huh.
1 mechanic for
Sorry,
every
I'm
25
revised.
vehicles or
Uh-huh.
25 buses, and
Uh-huh.
right now we're at 22 routes, so we're actually under, significantly.
Rick, please.
So for instance, would this be something like, say, there's work to be done maybe on a couple buses, but there's plenty of few extra buses chilling, ready to be used, and some, so those can be used while, if we do have a mechanic out, then
That's correct.
we'll have extra buses basically to use, right?
Correct, and,
Okay.
and to your point, we have 8 spare, and these are not the EV buses, these are actually 8 of
Okay.
the
Diesel?
diesel,
Yeah.
standard engine.
They're diesel.
Spare buses, so we actually do have additional
Okay.
available.
Yeah.
And we do that already, especially for
Yeah.
field trips, and we swap them out.
Sweet.
It's rare that you don't know things like that. Usually Brenda knows all things like that.
I'm not an expert on diesel or.
So any
Yes.
other questions on the list? Because.
On the list, yeah, but not,
Yeah.
not the mechanics.
Okay, any other questions on the mechanic before we move on to, we can go round robin. Go ahead, Rick, if you have questions, we
Yeah,
can
just
start
on
with you.
one,
Okay.
I could support this whole list, except, library tech, and, I think that,
Was that-
there's an example for
I
like,
see that.
our last superintendent on the last few months, got the new weight room, like a bunch of new equipment. It was 1994 up in there, and you remember?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so we got that. So I think not having a library, and it doesn't always have to do with money. Like in our fund, it could be grants, donations of books, donations of tech. They're middle schoolers. I mean, I don't know if it's that one personally, but to have stuff other that sparks their interest besides books. So I could support this list with the exception of library tech.
And if I
Can you speak
to
why
that.
why the
So,
recommendation is
I hear you on
on there?
that,
Yeah.
totally, right? Because
Yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of getting kids to read, yes, we want to get kids to
Well,
read.
of course.
And other librarians and library videotechs important, absolutely.
Yes.
So this one, I hear you,
Yeah,
totally,
for sure.
right? The
So why is
the
it on there?
thinking behind here is because it would be at the middle school,
Yeah.
and the middle school currently doesn't really have a library.
And my point was with the first analogy about the weight room, like,
Yeah.
hey,
Can we
put it
get a
in there.
library?
No,
Just
it's-
use that. Let's get a library.
I am down with getting a library. I'd love to get a library in there. And I would say,
That's
you know,
biased.
at the
His wife's librarian.
my wife is a librarian.
Oh, really? I
And we
didn't
do
know.
we love libraries. Yeah.
So that's your
So-
reasoning, because there's no library, we're getting rid of the library technician.
Correct.
And there's no library because of space,
Yes.
so.
And the reason there's no space is we moved from Moss Landing when the Moss Landing was sold, right? The district office, the special education department moved to the library at the middle school.
Heckin' better.
So the library in the
Special.
middle school was made into the special education department instead.
Current library is
Yeah.
in.
No, I remember they
Yeah.
moved the library on the side.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's currently in a classroom.
In the
And it's-
classroom.
so it's currently in the
it's gonna be,
classroom.
they wanna remove it from there?
So I mean, what I would like to do eventually is move the special education department out of there into their own space and make that back into a proper library.
But I'm just saying, the space that is being utilized as a library now is not because I heard you say there is no space, but they have space right now.
They do have space right now. I would never classify it as a proper library because it's too small, right?
Do they use it?
Do they use it? Ish.
So what's the feedback from the site leaders?
Feedback from the site leaders is if we need to cut, we should cut there because it's not used.
So they're the ones that are recommending to cut because it's not being utilized.
Oh, but I mean, hey, if it was kept, they would be happy.
I would say to that, if I may, if it's being used by one person, that's fine with me. I mean, even if it's not used by 20 people, 20 kids, if it's used by one, that's good enough for me.
I mean,
So, amend it.
I certainly,
No,
I
I'm
certainly
definitely
think,
gonna amend it.
I certainly think we're a school and we should be promoting books.
Yeah.
So this is quite the quandary, cause we wanna support your recommendation. I
so-
think, we talked about some office space to go look at.
We did.
I know this is getting
did.
off of our agenda topic.
But no, it's related though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of related because it does beg the question. We want kids to read. Reading is absolutely fundamental. It's tied to so many life success scores. We want students to be life, career, college ready. So the message is kind of disturbing that we don't
I
have a
hear you.
library. We're
I
not
hear-
pushing books. We should be pushing books.
If
So
the
And
board
even-
decide to keep this,
Even a space to
read books
hang
or
out,
be
or
quiet.
even
Yeah,
hang
be
out
quiet
because
time.
they want to get away from the playground.
People.
or-
So they
if
don't
the
have that
board
either
decide to keep
over
this,
there?
it would
They don't
not
have a place
be
to hang out?
contrary
wellness
to
center.
Okay. Yeah, the wellness
what we
center.
need to
But
do.
like
It
people
would
see
be
you walk
fine.
in,
Okay.
maybe the library is a good place.
So, are there any other questions on other positions that we would like to address? Any uncertainty, any concerns? I think I have one. The school bus driver vacant. I just wanna ask, because recently I have been receiving a lot of messages alerting to routes being canceled. So, before we vote on your recommendation, can you confirm that we have the right, amount of drivers to support, the bus routes?
Or can we use an extra driver?
Can I put something in here?
Please, yeah,
With the
please,
move
whoever
which
wants to address
with the
it.
move which you just approved to go to one director,
I will have a spare driver.
that would mean that that person would
Okay.
become a lead and could also drive on a much more regular basis as needed.
And the dispatcher. too.
And the dispatchers,
That would
they
actually
are
have
able
another
to drive
driver.
too.
Okay.
So it would,
because-
because we'd be adding a lead there, but that person wouldn't be managing the department, it's essentially like adding a bus driver too.
Bus driver slash lead, like lead mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And then with the dispatchers, that's 2 extra drivers.
Correct.
Gotcha.
As well,
They also have this.
That's on
Oh,
the list, so the
yes.
dispatcher is
Oh,
going
yes.
away, so
So-
I'm confused.
Well, should I maybe talk about the dispatcher a little bit?
yes, just one more thing, just before we go off it.
Mhm.
Another reason why we're struggling there
Yeah.
is because of the tragedy which happened before Christmas.
Okay.
We do have one person out because of that, and probably won't be coming back.
Okay. So you have someone who's out on medical leave or leave.
On leave because of
Okay.
the tragedy.
And
Okay.
we only have 2 subs and one of our subs is on board.
Okay.
So that's really what's going on.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the dispatching staff?
Sure. Do they have questions or do we move on? Unless they have questions, I don't know if they want me to dig into it.
Sure.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
Does
Any
that answer
further-
your question to make sure we have enough bus drivers?
I mean, I'm going to trust, but if we keep on getting text messages throughout the year, we as a
Yeah.
board will ask the question, do we have the right amount of coverage? Because we want students coming to school, right? And you guys do too, so
If at some
we're
point,
aligned.
if at some point we need to open up a position and hire
Yeah.
another bus driver, we can always
We can
do
admit
that.
we're wrong.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm happy to hear that.
we're wrong.
I've been wrong too, all the time. Ask my husband, right? Okay, so I'm gonna invite a motion. Do I have a motion?
A motion, I hope get some support, but I do motion that we approve this list, but without the library technician one,
Amendment.
spot.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second is motion with the amendment of removing the library tech.
Okay, we're gonna do roll call. Martha, how do you vote?
Aye,
Okay,
and if we have an amendment to remove the library technician, that means you gotta come back with a plan, right?
We'll bring that up on another future
Okay,
agenda.
all right.
But thank you for your enthusiasm. I love it. So yes, Rick.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Angelo.
Aye.
Okay. And then I as amended, so we are approving resolution number 2025-2026 as amended with the removal of library technician 1. Okay. There are no further agenda items.
That's all it is.
Right, is that the list?
That's it.
Okay, guys, wow, we are on fire today. What time is it?
We're early.
5:08?
Oh, we're
Okay.
early.
This meeting is adjourned at 5:08.